everybody, it's Tony with Big T Bariatric, and I'm back at you with another video. Today, it is Saturday, April 15th, and I hope you got your taxes done. Did you? Did you get your taxes done? Because if you didn't, you're out of luck after today. But anyway, yeah, I hope you have a great weekend, and if you could do me a huge favor, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please do so. Down below, there's that button. Hit that for me. Let's get this thing to 5,000. Leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think about this video. So I know yesterday I started talking about I started reviewing another episode of Dr. Phil, and I'm going to put that on pause just for a couple days because today I want to talk about Tammy Slaton, and then we got Motivational Monday, which I was planning on doing a video of me. That's not going to happen this weekend because all of a sudden I'm going to end up with my nieces, and so that's not going to be an average weekend day. So I'm pushing it off another week. I know, I'm sorry to those of you who are interested. I might not wait till next weekend. I might just film it during a normal week when I don't have anything going on, because if the girls aren't over, I'm going to my friend Steve's house, or usually my weekends are fairly busy. So trying to film this on the weekend might not be a good idea. So, you know, I'm trying to figure out the logistics, get it going so you can see an average day in my life. But I might film something with my nieces when they're here. I don't know. But anyways, today I'm talking about Tammy Slaton, and then we got Motivational Monday. And then Tuesday, I'll get back to that Dr. Phil episode. So what I want to talk about today with Tammy Slaton is she getting a divorce? Now, if you remember my video, probably a lot of you didn't see it because I made it back in November, which is around the time where I was fairly new with YouTube. So you probably didn't see my original video talking about Tammy Slaton getting married to Caleb Willingham. I think his last name is Willingham. And I pretty much said it was doomed from the start. And I think most people agreed with me that their marriage was going to be doomed from the start for a variety of reasons. First of all, you don't meet somebody in a rehab facility, fall in love, and expect to have success with that person. That's just not going to happen. I mean, I know there's outliers. I know some people are going to say, well, love is love, and you just can't help where you meet, and this and that. But it's like, when you're that big and you have a trach in your neck, and you're still struggling with your diet, and then you meet somebody who's even bigger than you are and also has a trach in his neck, and after 3 weeks of meeting, suddenly you're married. Like, does anybody really give that marriage a chance? But it looks like now that they're actually getting divorced, which is very interesting. I mean, not only did most of us call that it's probably going to happen, I didn't expect that it would happen this soon. I mean, they were married in November, so how many months is that? I don't know. You do the math. November, December, January, February, March, April. So about 6 months their marriage lasted. They didn't even stick it out for a full year. And one of the first evidences of this happening is that Tammy, when she got married, she proudly declared that her last name was no longer Slaton, but that it was Willingham. And so she changed her last name on her TikTok to Tammy Willingham. But now she's changed it back to Tammy Slaton. So she's going back to her maiden name. And also she would often make videos with her husband and proudly talk about him and in their marriage and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden she just stopped doing that. But there's more to the story than that, because it's now coming out that Caleb probably wanted his 15 minutes worth of fame. And I got 2 videos I sort of pulled out from YouTube. And this guy talks about celebrities a lot. And so the first one's going to be exposing the truth about Tammy and Caleb. And we're going to learn a lot about Caleb, what his intentions were. And just watching this, I think 100%, I feel like he just wanted his 15 minutes of fame. That's it. Because he was at a different rehab facility, and once he found out that Tammy went to the one in Ohio, he left to go and meet her. And within 3 weeks of meeting her at this rehab facility, they were married. So let's watch this.
What are you gonna do when we have our own? Guys, we all know that Tammy Slaton just got married to a man named Caleb a few months ago, and from what we know, Tammy and Caleb seem to be very happy together, and we all thought that he seemed like a pretty good guy, but now some really weird things are coming out about him, like the fact that he's been jumping around between hospitals and rehab centers for years now, and that he left his home state of Indiana and followed Tammy to Ohio just because he wanted to meet her, and then proposed to her after only a few weeks, and so much more. You guys, seriously, you are not going to believe what just came out about this guy. This is so much crazier than we ever could have imagined, and now that we're seeing it all play out on TV, I think we're all realizing just how weird Tammy and Caleb's entire marriage has been so far. I mean, let's look at the facts here. Caleb literally followed Tammy to the rehab facility that she was at, and he found out who she was from the show, and then got transferred from a different rehab facility to her rehab facility because he wanted to meet her, and she said it like,
So you don't think that's bad intentions right off the bat? I mean, if I was a star of a reality TV show and I was going somewhere and somebody found out I was going there and they went there just to meet me, I don't know if I would be creeped out about it, but I would at least have my antennas up, right? Like there'd be maybe a little bit of a red flag there that they weren't interested in me. I mean, if it was like a meet and greet type thing, let's say I ended up having 1 million subscribers and, people were wanting to meet me and stuff like that, that's not a big deal. But in this situation, knowing that the TV show would be at this rehab facility, so you transfer over there just to meet Tammy, just to be on TV, you get married to her, and 3 weeks after you meet her, it sounds like somebody who's after a little bit of, I don't know, his own TV deal maybe, or just to get on the show, just bad intentions. Like when you become famous, you almost got to question why people are interested in you, especially when you're as big as Tammy is. And most of the guys in her life that she's ever met were the BBW King or people like that who just had no good intentions with her. They wanted to keep her fat. They wanted to feed her because they liked big women. And so all of a sudden, Caleb is in that same boat of people who just use Tammy for a specific reason. Whether or not Tammy lost the weight and got healthy, like she's been working on that. She got the surgery. She's lost a ton of weight. And so she's looking a lot better than she did before. But Caleb didn't seem like he was trying at all.
it was a good thing. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a crazy coincidence that they seem to have similar health issues at the same time. Literally, Caleb was on a ventilator during the exact same week that Tammy was in November of 2021, and that Caleb was inspired by Tammy's own health journey to get, healthy on his own. But I don't think he needed to follow her to Ohio to do that. And then when he was finally healthy enough to leave his room, he immediately went to find her and meet her. And then just 3 weeks later, they were engaged, and literally before anyone in Tammy's family could even meet him. And 2 weeks after that, they were getting married, and none of Tammy's family even met him until the day before the wedding. And it's not like their meeting went well, like at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's a bad guy. He seems super down to earth, funny, and just like a nice guy. I'm definitely.
But why would you marry somebody 3 weeks after you met them? Like, is marriage a joke to you? Was it all about ratings on your TV show? Maybe you were lonely and you felt, okay, well, I'll just marry this guy because I've seen the episode where Caleb pops up in, where they get married. Like the entire time watching that, just seeing Tammy's mannerisms and everything else, I was like, she doesn't seem like she's too happy. That she's not really into this guy. She's not really, didn't seem like she was really in love with him. It just seemed like, I don't know, there was something missing there that she just doing what she had to do to keep with Caleb because she was lonely and she met a guy there, and so she wanted that interaction, but if she didn't marry him, that maybe things wouldn't work out between them. I don't know, but it just did not seem like she was happy with him, that she wanted to be with him, but he was maybe the only last ditch effort that she had to get married, which is something that we all want to do. But as I've talked about my own journey, I'm like, I'm waiting till I'm healthy enough to be in a successful relationship. Like, I'm not going to jump into a marriage with somebody 3 weeks after I meet them because I'm lonely, right? Like, you need to be smart about this kind of thing.
Rooting for him and Tammy in their love and even health journeys, but there's definitely something a little weird going on with him. Like, why did he seek out Tammy? Was it the fame or the money, or was it love at first sight when he saw her on TV? Because you can say that they just randomly fell in love, but he literally went to the specific rehab facility for her, and within 5 weeks of meeting her, they were married. So there must be some ulterior motive here.
So they didn't even have a long engagement. So they got engaged 3 weeks, and then 2 weeks later they were married. Like, what is the rush? Seriously, what is the rush? Like, for me, if I met somebody in rehab, which I wouldn't do, like if I met somebody in rehab, I'd be like, listen, my weight is number one. My health is number one. Like, that's the priority. All right. If you want to be with me, we're going to do this together, and we're going to see if we can stick this out. And if you're not showing that you're serious about your weight loss, just as I'm serious, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to stick with this. Like, it was nice to meet you. I'm glad that you're interested in me. Like, let's shake hands and go our separate ways, because if you're not going to prove to me that you're serious about your weight loss, it's just not going to happen. But there would be no engagement until I reached a certain point, right? Like, yeah, like there's no point in getting married to somebody who has shown that he isn't even trying, and then only 2 weeks after getting engaged, just being married. And it's like, okay, did they even consummate? Can they consummate? Like, what is the point of them getting married? I just don't get it. She's absolutely not being smart about this.
And now, 4 months after the wedding, Tammy's finally giving us some insight into what their marriage looks like. But first, we have to talk about what their marriage currently looks like in the first place, because there's an elephant in the room that Tammy hasn't even acknowledged yet, and that's that she's out of rehab, and Caleb appears to not be. So don't get me wrong, her siblings have brought it up on the show. Like, what would they do if Tammy got out of the facility before Caleb? Because Tammy was clearly a lot further along in her weight loss journey and would most likely be leading before Caleb, but Tammy and Caleb both just completely blew it off and said that the goal was for Caleb to get out of rehab at the same time as Tammy. But honestly, anyone with eyes could see that that wasn't happening, and it was just clearly not a realistic goal. But they had no backup plan for what would happen if that was the case, so Tammy got out of rehab in January, and Caleb definitely did not, so we think. And I personally thought that she might find a place to live in the same city as, the rehab facility, since, her husband lives there still, but she didn't. Instead, she immediately drove home to Kentucky. And now let's just look at the map for a second. Tammy's hometown is in Dixon, Kentucky, and that is 7 hours from the rehab facility in Gibsonburg, Ohio. And Tammy can't even drive yet, so she's supposedly working on being able to drive again now that she's out of rehab, but from what we know, she isn't. So I don't know how she's even seeing him. I mean, do you think she's even seen him since, she left rehab almost 2 months ago? If I had to guess, I'd probably say she hasn't. And I mean, it's like, who would even have taken her to see him? And I think it's safe to say that Amy doesn't have the time, since she's supposedly leaving Michael and trying to take care of their 2 boys. But
Yeah, that's another situation that I thought about covering before, but I don't know. But it seems like Michael and Amy are also getting a divorce. If you didn't know that, then yeah, that seems like that's exactly what's going on right now. And so Amy's taking care of 2 kids on her own. But yeah, you would think that if you married somebody in rehab and you're totally in love with them, that you would stay with them, right? It's like, stay in the rehab facility, continue on your own work, but you're going to help out your husband to get him to that point. And then you guys leave together. But she was anxious to get out, for one. Two, not even stayed in the area. And three, went all the way back home to Kentucky, 7 hours away. So was there trouble in paradise beforehand where she's like, I need to get out of here. I need to go home. Like, I need to get away from this guy. But I guess they did talk about what would happen if he got out of rehab, but he's nowhere near that point. It doesn't even look like he's trying to lose weight.
still, even given all this, Tammy is somehow giving an update on her marriage, and I don't know how she is anything to update us on. I mean, but from what she said, it's pretty funny, all things considered. So she claims that she loves waking up every morning, seeing his face, and seeing his face every night before she goes to bed, which I just don't understand, because they live 7 hours apart as far as we know. But I guess it's possible through FaceTime, maybe? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it definitely worries me that Tammy and Caleb don't know when, if ever, that Caleb will be able to come home. And, Chris said it best on the show. Tammy has been given a second chance at life. She really has. And guys, I am so incredibly happy for her. I mean, she's lost enough weight now that she's well on her way to being able to live the life of a person at a normal weight. And that did not seem like it was going to be the case in November of 2021 when she literally almost didn't make it. But the second that she got this second chance at life, she met Caleb, who, may not.
All right, so we're going to move on to the second video here. But that was just to show just the weird connection that they had, that it was not likely that they were going to stick together, right? Just from the very beginning, he was in it for his 15 minutes of fame, and that's it. Like that's all he was interested in. And I don't know, it just frustrates me that you have that little opinion of marriage, that you're just going to jump in with somebody right away. I mean, I get that you're lonely. I understand loneliness, all right? I've been single for way, way too many years, okay? I understand that. But I'm not going to just jump up and meet the first person who gives me attention and marry them weeks later. Like, come on. That's ridiculous. Why would you do that?
Honestly, I'm trying to get better myself,
Guys, Caleb and Tammy have only been husband and wife since November, but it seems like everything is starting to fall apart for them already.
The more we talked and hung out and whatever, the more stress I was under.
Now, allegedly, they've been arguing so.
Why would you be under stress just talking to the guy? I mean, again, like I said, when I saw the episodes where they were together and getting married, she did not seem like she was excited to marry him. She did not seem like she was in love with the guy, which I thought was really, really strange. I'm like, I would think that there would be a lot more happiness, but apparently just talking to the guy puts you under a lot of stress. That's a good sign there that you probably shouldn't have gotten married.
So much lately that there might not be much hope for them left, and some people are starting to wonder if the couple is even still married. And guys, we just got a huge hint pointing to them being done once and for all, and this is really only the beginning of the drama going on with these two. So even though Tammy and Caleb's wedding only just aired on 1,000 Pound Sisters, so much has already changed since their big day. I mean, first of all, we just got news that Tammy has changed her TikTok name, and it's the biggest sign that things are over. So her name has been Tammy Willingham on there ever since they got married, and she just changed it back to her maiden name, Tammy Slaton, which you really only do if you're getting divorced, right? I mean, I think we can all agree that if they are getting divorced, it's not exactly shocking, and they did seem pretty doomed from the start, and Tammy definitely deserves the best, and he just doesn't seem to be the best fit for her, and there's just something off with him in my opinion. But hopefully I'm wrong and everything is fine with them. But apparently they've been having a ton of issues that led to her TikTok name change. So according to the US Sun, an inside source revealed that Tammy is extremely frustrated with Caleb right now, and in February she left the weight loss rehab center where she and Caleb had spent all of their time together, and that's when things took an unexpected turn for the worst. Supposedly the couple had a plan in place to avoid being hundreds of miles apart from each other, but it just hasn't worked out at all, and what's actually happened since Tammy left is just insane. So Tammy's hometown of Dixon, Kentucky is a 7-hour drive from the Ohio Rehab Center, and that's why Caleb was originally planning to transfer to a facility that's only 25 miles from Tammy's house, which honestly is still pretty far considering that Tammy can't even drive. But nothing seems to be going according to plan, because now the possibility of Caleb actually transferring is like super uncertain, and everything seems to be up in the air and is completely tearing them apart. And reportedly, Caleb knew that he was supposed to work out the transfer process with his insurance company, but from what we've heard, he has not followed through on this, and not by a mile. And the insider claimed that Caleb hasn't even made an effort to start figuring out the situation with his insurance company, which is why Tammy is so angry. And
I mean, I totally get that on Tammy's side. Like, he was supposed to move closer to be home with her, which is, first when I said I don't understand why she didn't stay there to help him, why she didn't stay in the area even, but it went all the way home. But okay, they worked this out. All right, Caleb, you're going to come and move to a facility closer to where I live, which is still 25 miles away, but a lot closer than 7 hours away. But the fact that he hasn't even tried to transfer, it's like, what's going on here? Okay, are you really in love with Tammy, or did you want your 15 minutes of fame? You got what you wanted. You got the episodes that you were on. You got the fame. You got the notoriety. You got everything else. He probably even got paid for being on the show. But as soon as Tammy leaves, you're gone? Like, you're done with it? You're not even going to try to move closer to be with your wife? I mean, that sounds very shady to me. Very, very shady.
can't lie. I mean, this is not a good sign at all. And Tammy and Caleb's struggles obviously didn't just start overnight out of nowhere, because the source also explained that at first Tammy was just sad about being away from her husband, but before long, everything started to come crashing down when Tammy realized that being near each other seemingly wasn't important to Caleb, and she was really hurt and upset. And to tell you the truth, I think a lot of people would feel the same way. And if Caleb can't be bothered to take the first step to be closer to his wife, what does that say about their future? And they've allegedly been fighting so much lately, and it's hard to tell if they're even still together. And this is the most unbelievable part, is that Tammy and Caleb are both pretty active on social media, but they're almost never mentioning or tagging each other. The only exception is Caleb's Instagram, which only has one post, but you're not going to guess what Tammy has been sharing online, because although Caleb has a picture of the couple from their wedding day on his Instagram, it's not clear proof that they're still doing well, especially since one of Tammy's recent TikToks revealed her surprisingly flirty interaction with a guy that is not Caleb. You guys, as crazy as Tammy being flirted with in her TikToks was, I could barely believe it when I saw the caption. So she tagged the mystery man and even called him a bad boy, and the video was apparently from when Tammy was still in the rehab center, but still, I wonder what made her decide to post it now when her marriage is reportedly in not a great place. But that's not the only social media clue about how she and Caleb are doing, and you'll never guess what's next, because on Facebook, both Tammy and Caleb's profile stated that they're married to each other, but aside from a wedding photo from November, Caleb doesn't seem to share much about his wife. And what Tammy has posted on her account is just puzzling. So astonishingly, Tammy doesn't appear to have a single picture of Caleb on her Facebook. And this is obviously not because it could be an issue with TLC, since their wedding episode is already out there. So I wonder if Tammy and Caleb have been keeping quiet on social media about each other because of how intense their marital problems are. I mean, maybe they're actually...
Well, I mean, there's other times when Tammy felt like she had to be quiet about what was going on in her life. So I think the fact that it still shows that they're married on Facebook, not that Facebook is the end all. I mean, everybody thinks you got to be Facebook official before any kind of relationship is really, truly real. But yeah, I mean, they could be keeping it under wraps because of the next season of the show, or maybe they are still married, but just trying to work it out privately, not trying to get everybody else involved. And here I am making a video about it. So I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to end it right here. But yeah, it's just strange to me. Very, very strange that you would marry somebody weeks after you meet them. And then as soon as you're separated, it's like he's not even going to try to get closer to you. And she apparently didn't even try to stay close to him. So maybe that's why he feels that way. Like, hey, you just left and went home. You didn't even try to stay with me here, which I would feel that way. If I was Caleb, I'd be like, listen, we're married. Why don't you want to stay here with me? Why are you going to go all the way back to Kentucky? I mean, maybe that's why he's feeling that way. I don't know, but this is a drama. I'm definitely going to keep on taps here for my channel, just talking about Tammy Slaton, and this is just the weird side of obesity, right? Like, most of the people that Tammy's going to meet are going to be either after their 15 minutes of fame, or they're going to want her because she's a big girl. And that's the difficult side of intimate relationships when you're obese. It's just not going to be a good idea to be with somebody, right? Like, it's just not going to be. That's why I'm waiting till I lose more weight, because it's like, how can you be a good wife, a good mom at that size? And that's the same thing I'm thinking about myself. How can I be a good father and a good husband at the size that I'm at currently? Even though I've lost a bunch of weight, even though I am a lot more mobile, stuff like that. Like, you just really need to think about this sort of thing. But anyways, that's my video for today. Like I said, Motivational Monday is coming next. I'm taking tomorrow off, Sunday. We have the girls with me today, so if I do post a video tomorrow, maybe it'll be with the girls. And then so I'll be back Motivational Monday with that video. And then I'll get back into the next 2 parts of the Dr. Phil episode that I started. So I hope you have a great weekend. I love you guys. God bless you.